Hello, everyone. We are starting in about a minute or two, so hang in there, and we'll notify you when we're ready.
Pardon me? Yes.
Hello, everyone. This is 11 o'clock, and we are going to start our presentation today on culvert replacement and fish passages, presented in Softread's RoadEng software. As usual, before we get started, a couple of housekeeping reminders. First of all, everybody's audio microphone is going to be on mute. However, we encourage you to engage with us, raise your questions through the Q&A panel. Also, we will be recording this session, made available for future reviews on our YouTube channel shortly after. The upcoming webinars, we will have two, both presented in RoadEng software. The first one is covering mining applications, presented on April 19th. And the next one is some volume calculations on May the 10th. Before we get started, there are two types of culverts that we'll be presenting for you today, the calculations of minor and major culverts. The minor being very simple stream designs, literally with 2 clicks in RoadEng's location module. And the next one, a little bit more complicated, major culverts for more larger projects that will be covered by Jack using the RoadEng software. That being said, I'm going to let Jack take over and show you the software.
Thanks, Fred. I'm just going to turn my screen on so you can see it. Thank you very much, Fred, and welcome to our bi-weekly webinars. Holding this on Thursday. Usually they're on a Friday, but welcome all of you. I'm going to just start in the locations, and we're going to switch it up a little bit this time. If you remember previous culvert replacement fish passage projects, web demos that we've done, I usually started in the train and then brought the design over from train to location and looked at it in location and designed the section of road. This time we're just going to focus on location first and put in a culvert in the location design module, show you a couple of different types of culverts, talk about the panel, and then move over to the train and do a culvert replacement fish passage. The location design method is a visual of a culvert. It's actually not showing you, it doesn't actually talk about the volumes that the culvert replaces. Let me just show you how to put in a culvert. So it's just a picture of a culvert. Let me just do that. I'm going to put in a stream crossing culvert at this location right here. Chose a location called at this label called Seep. Add natural channel stream. So by default, it puts in 1,000 millimeter culvert. This happens to be a metric design. If you are working in imperial units, all your units will be in feet and inches. So just be aware of that. You can change the size of your culvert right here by clicking on Properties. We'll talk about the bottom part of the dialog box when I put in a cross drain, but I can change the size of my culvert if I want, let's say 500 millimeter circular pipe, or I could change it to a open bottom arch, pipe arch, or rectangular box, whichever one I choose. I'm going to leave it as a circular pipe. And then if you want to save this for all future stream crossing class pipes, you can. It will save it for future, save a disk for future designs. So every time I open up a new design and add a stream crossing culvert, it will automatically put a 500 millimeter culvert into. Oh, by the way, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. There is a questions panel there. Either me or Farshid will see your questions and we'll answer them. Okay, let's talk about, you can see that the culvert appeared right here. It automatically put in a gradient. If I wanted to change that gradient, I can. I can change it to a -5% gradient, or just turn on semi-auto and just put in 5%, and it should know the direction that you should be traveling there. So that's -5% automatically. So if I wanted to change it to 10, turning on semi-auto, it will automatically start here and go down from there. Apply. If you want to attach it to the bottom of the fill on either side, like I started, it will actually put in a 28.55% grade culvert. That might be a little bit too steep, so just be aware of that. Let's put in semi-auto again and just change it back to 10% and just show you a few other things. I can change the length of my culvert if I want to. I can change it a little bit so it's a little bit longer on one side and a little bit longer on the other side. Apply. So that way you get a little bit of overhang on your culvert on that one side. There is a data window here that shows me the information about the culvert. I can turn on that information. I just want to turn that off and just show me information about culverts where I've inserted them. Culvert insertion points, not at random intervals. Okay, so I can show you the length of culvert on either side, 10 meters. Sorry, length buried. The length total is 10 meters, because obviously that's what I put in. The length buried is 8.2 meters. It's not including that overhang, so it's 8.2 meters length of culverts buried. If you want to pull the culvert down, you can. I can change this to put a minimum fill depth on my culvert. Let's see, I want to have a minimum fill depth of 1 meter. So that's a 1 meter depth of culvert on top, depth of fill on top of the culvert. Let's change that to 0.5 meter. Apply. You can change the skew of your culvert by turning on auto skew. This is based on the gradient of the road. Obviously, we're not changing, there's not much of a gradient here, so it's not going to change the skew too much. Didn't change the skew at all. So it's pretty flat out there, I guess. Or it's only a -1% grade. Show you how to put in a cross drain. I'm going to go up here where this label says cross drain. Add a new kind of culvert. Not a natural channel stream, so don't toggle this on. I'm only going to put in one. You can put in a number of cross drains, specific spacing if you want to. I'm just going to put in one. There it is. Automatically puts in a 600 millimeter culvert. I can change that by clicking on the culvert that I just put in. Properties. Change it to a 200 millimeter culvert. The other part of the dialog box that I want to talk about is this override section. So you can actually put in a catch basin at the bottom of your culvert, change the width of your catch basin and the template offset. So basically it will taper to the culvert, 2 meter taper and 2 meter width. The depth, I'm going to make that 1 meter depth. Actually, the taper is 2 meters and the template offset is 2 meters. So it starts 2 meters out and tapers for 2 meters. Let's just leave it at that. There you go. That's my new catch basin right there. You can also put in a culvert description. I'm going to just call it cross drain. I've already got the descriptions in there, but I'm going to put in my own. There it is right there. You can move that around to different locations. Modify the label. I'm going to move this over here just so you can see where it is. So you can put in your own labels down here.
Jack, when you get a chance, if you want to look at the question.
Yeah, there's a question here. Just looking at the question just for a second. It's from the question is the minimum fill measured from the bottom of the road layers or from the top of the road? It's measured from the subgrade surface, bottom of the road layer. I hope that answered your question. Okay. I think I've covered the culvert editor information quite nicely, and I'm just going to show you some other stuff that you can some other information that you can put in about culverts. There's a whole bunch of, you can put in culvert diameter, culvert fill. I've already got culvert length. You can put the culvert length on one side, and the other side I can also put in culvert volume. Inlet X, inlet Y, inlet Z, outlet X, outlet Y, outlet Z. So this is for staking purposes if you need that. There you go. All that information is in that dialog box right now. I only have 2 stations because I only have 2 culverts. If I had a whole list of culverts in here, you'd see a whole bunch of information appear in the data window. Let me show you how, if I put in another culvert, I'm going to just choose a different location here. Put in another cross drain just to show you that if I save, I'm going to save this first. Save this for future cross drains. Yes. And then I'm going to put in a new one over here. Add a new cross drain. So you're not going to toggle on natural channel stream. It's going to put in another 200 millimeter culvert at this location. see what it looks like. Auto skew. Semi-auto gradient. It's attaching it to the upper ditch catch point, so it's attaching it down here to the toe fill. Let me show you how to put in another. I'm going to just find another fill section here. I don't have any fill sections all the way out here. I'm going to go back. No more fill sections. Let me just see if I can find one in the profile. Maybe this one will be a good location right here. I'm going to put in another stream crossing culvert right here. No, this is going to be probably another cross drain location. There. So now there's 3 cross drains. I am done with the location design module portion. I am going to just recap a little bit of what I did. I added in a stream crossing culvert. 2 different classes of culverts. First of all, there's a stream crossing culverts and there's cross drains. Stream crossing culverts, obviously, it's quite obvious where they're placed at stream locations. Cross drains are placed wherever you want to have a, usually cross drains are placed at regular intervals along the road. You can do that in that dialog box just by adding cross drains and then putting in a spacing and a number. I elected not to do that. I just decided to put in 3 cross drains at specific locations. You can change either type of cross drain. You can change the length. You can change the where it's attached. You can change the gradient. You can put in cross drains. You can put in template overrides for your catch point, catch basins, if you want to. You don't have to create a special template for culvert locations anymore. You used to do that a couple of versions ago. Now you don't have to do that anymore. You can override the template right inside this dialog box if you want to. That's a quick recap of what I just did in the location design module. Let's go on to train module and show you how to add in a fish passage culvert. This is a different type of, this is one where you can actually calculate the volume of the culvert, of the fill that you're taking out and putting back in. Let me show you how to do that. I'm going to open up a file. It's a I might have it open already. Let me just see. Yes. No, I don't. Close that down. Go to my train. Open up that file. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to replace this culvert that they have, an existing culvert here, with a pipe arch. Show you how to do that. First of all, I'm going to excavate the bottom of this fill area right here. Show you how to do that first. Create a bottom excavation feature. New feature. With the mouse. Snap here. Snap at the 2 bottom locations. It picks up the elevation of those 2 points. I'm going to copy that line, open up a new terrain, paste that line. There it is. Bring my my original ground into the background so you can see it. Now I can start to, I'm going to create some width here on the bottom of this excavation feature. Modify selected feature, buffer it out. Linear buffer, 5 feet on each side. So now we're working in an imperial file. Just be aware of that. So this is 5 feet, not 5 meters on either side. So it's a 10-foot wide excavation that I'm doing. Join those 2 lines. Control J. Delete this middle line. I don't need it anymore. Close this feature. Okay. Now I'm going to grade up to the surface. Just see which way is the... I'm going to grade up to the left. Grading. So what did I do there? I just went to train modeling. Press the grading button. I'm going to grade onto the left side, and what am I going to grade to? I'm going to grade to the target surface, which is the original topo. I'm going to regrade that because I want to get a little bit more slope on that. Maybe a 1.5 to 1. And I'm also going to interpolate some extra cross sections around, and I'm also set daylight to tin, calculate volumes, just so I can see how much I'm excavating. Okay, so this is the original. You have to switch this over to original, and that way you know how much cut you have. 764.6 cubic yards of cut. There's just a minimum amount of fill because I've gone over a little bit on one of these ends. Probably this end over here. I'm a little bit higher up than I should be at this end right here. It's not much, it's only 0.4 cubic yards. Save this as excavation. Merge it into my original ground. Open up my original ground. Merge. Oh, I have to get a file. Recalculate my tin contours. Save this as just want to make sure I'm saving right. This one, Culvert design and terrain topo with excavation. Go to a new terrain again. Open up my pipe. First of all, bring in my background of my terrain. Right click. Active window plan options. Background. Add. This one. Zoom extents. There it is. Just put it in the middle. If you put it in the middle, this next step is a lot easier. Try to put it as close to the middle as you can so that your culvert will be as close to me. You don't have to modify it a lot. Let me insert my culvert that I have here. I'm going to do a pipe arch and go to my Rotate, Translate, Scale tab, turn off, disable, and center in screen. So that's what I mean by if you put your terrain in the middle as close to the middle as possible, you'll be able to center the pipe at a starting point, which is good. There. Delete my 10 contours from pipe. This one has been saved with the 10 contours. Just delete that. So now I'm going to select the whole pipe. I can't select anything other than the pipe itself because the background is just a picture. Then Control M to move. Grab the center, put that in the center as close as possible, zoom in so I can move around a little bit easier. When you move to one of the ends, you'll get a rotate arrow and you can rotate it around. I'm going to go to the other end and rotate it a little bit more. That's a little bit too much. Let me rotate a little bit back. That's good. I think I'll leave it there, but I am going to just hover over the terrain, the background terrain, just to see what elevation I'm dealing with, because this is not at the right elevation. It's around 1,161.2 or so. I'm going to select the bottom and then select everything else. Control A, right click, modify selected features. So it will modify everything to elevation 1,161.2. It's important to be at the correct elevation. The question is, any chance to align the culvert accurately instead of approximately? I guess if you have the coordinates, you could move it accurately. If you have the correct coordinates where you want it to shift it to, yeah, you could. So you can go right click, modify selected features, coordinate transformation, and you can move it to the correct coordinates if you shift it to the correct coordinates if you want to. Okay, let's generate my terrain for this pipe again. Save my pipe and then merge it in. Save as pipe positioned. And then open up my original ground, which is this one. That's the original ground that I left at last time after the excavation. Then we're going to merge the pipe in, pipe positioned. And then generate my tin. Notice that my tin and contours disappear when I affect it in any way. I used to have a contours here. They got deleted because I imported something else. I'm going to regenerate that back. There. Now I've got terrain contours incorporated with a pipe. Let's take a look at this in 3D just so you can see it. There's my pipe arch. You could create a circular pipe if you wanted to and put that in too. I just figured pipe arch would be easy for aquatic species to travel through, much easier than a circular pipe. All right, let's see what volume we're dealing with here now. I'm going to save this. Go ahead.
Before that, do you want to answer another question?
Is there a way to do two different grading slopes? Yes, there is. You have to actually change the coordinates of one end, and then you can, and that will give you a different slope. So if you modify the coordinates of one of the ends, and it'll give you a different slope. I'm going to save this as with pipe, and then I'm going to show you the volumes that with the pipe included. So this is a lot more accurate in terms of calculating volumes of pipes included in designs. If you need that information, of volumes of earthwork, as opposed to the location design module, which doesn't include the volumes of the pipe within the earthwork calculations. Let's just show you how to do that. Calculate volumes. Surface A is the one that I'm looking at. Surface B will be my original topo, which is that one. There's the new volume, 662 cubic yards of fill. That's all I wanted to really show you today, folks. So I'm just going to cover a little bit of what I did in this last half of the demonstration. I brought in a terrain, designed a trench, and then brought in a pipe, calculated a bunch of volumes. First of all, the initial volume of excavation without a pipe, and then a volume with a pipe included. Thank you very much, folks. If there's any other questions, I'll hold off for another 30 seconds or so. Other than that, thank you very much.
Oh, here comes one.
Okay. Is it possible to start with a 1 to 10 slope, down 6 feet, then to a 1 to 1? Yes, it is. I can show you that. If you call up, I can show you how to do that. We can do a 1 to 1 demo on that one. It's beyond the scope of this demonstration, but I can show any other questions that you might have related to pipe design. Please don't hesitate to call Softtree, and we can help you with your specific questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, folks, thanks again. As I mentioned, this video is recorded, so you can have access to it later at our YouTube channel. Thanks again for today, and have a great weekend, everybody.